Welcome to Tidbit Talkin. Here's some ideas about boatloads of entertainment media. Some serious, others not so much. Generally only spoilers for whatever's currently featured, and a bit of vague references to other things in a shared universe. Now with all of that out of the way, here we go. The Curious Case of Bartholomew Allen. Iris's fondness of D&D most likely stems from getting considerable enjoyment out of imagining what it'd be like to have superpowers again. Daddy West, on the other hand, doesn't enjoy said role-playing extravaganza because taking on a whole new persona reminds him of far too many lying criminals getting away with society-ruining bunk. In this universe's case, the real-world odd but fictional realm normal event of abandoned warehouse surpluses was most likely caused by Thawne keeping them empty for his zany time travel scheme completion's sake. The disparity between Barry's internal and external physical aging could be caused by those swanky new boots of his almost absolutely absorbing that youth-draining blast as it struck. After all, normally senior speedsters such as Mr. Garrett get to change in a rather graceful fashion while moving through their many golden years. Joe's trouble with robo-vacuum assembly is probably just some sort of unfortunate placebo effect deal. That is, he convinced himself on a very deep level that all technology is ludicrously complex after spending years observing folks like Cisco Ramon, Chester P. Runk, Ronnie Raymond, and approximately 12 different Harrison Welleses construct nothing but whole scientific community revolutionizing hoopla. Memory fading is making metaphorically still young at heart Mr. Allen extra upset because it's bringing up PTSD kind of crap related to that time he was losing his entire self during that stay in the Flashpoint reality. The fastest overreactor alive, totally wrecking Dr. Snow's lab, probably involves just a tad bit more than that recent Ronald revival ruckus going notably sideways. That whole didn't just regain lost current physical prime time, but actually got even younger recovery deal he recently went through left the dude at 29 instead of 33 or whatever. This would put him at roughly the age he was at while facing Thinker and Cicada, a point at which there was much paranoia going on within him. Basically, that wacky Speed Force power pairing together with muscle memory made him extra prone to being a meta jackass. Keep it dark. Aside from her simply being a brilliant physicist, Nina getting the hang of swanky speedster skills such as arm wind funneling quite easily could very well be caused by an amnesic Eobard randomly remembering how things are done and providing sporadic training sessions and or earpiece distributed action time contained direct advice. The team must be keeping Velocity X-Files around just in case a super fast evil threat shows up and local good natural quick people like Wally or Barry aren't available. On a related note, the Roman 10 doubling as common variable name scheme going on now instead of using regular old Arabic numbers must be so they can just keep updating it with small tweaks until any grand new label demanding change breakthroughs come about. Making it last 2 seconds longer and then calling the thing version 9.65535 or whatever would be quite a pain. The newer, expanded Central City Citizen Media seems to have that same kitchen lounge deal from back when things were just operating out of a single apartment section. Sue must have bought the whole building for Iris after convincing all those neighbor people to leave with comfortable life-enabling cash loads and ideas about black hole assassins striking again at any time. Imprisoned still memory packed on inquiring about Team Flash following Frost Fatality funkiness might have something to do with said locked up lad wondering if another him is lethally frolicking about somewhere. After all, a surprise life ending that comes about right after another Scarlet Speedster happiness-deprived moment occurred in the form of botched Ron revival is something he would set into motion just for funsies. Connected, he knows about Shivery Snow Sister's sudden cessation since he quickly looked at a bunch of future articles after Reverse Flashpoint went kaput while attempting all that erasure-halting malarkey. His "my broken body" statement is spoken in a way one might describe their wrecked car or whatever. Considering this actually belongs to a Wells, some sort of collectible is likely all he sees it as. Anyway, he's probably mostly upset because he can never unharris himself without powers, since even if that tech were available now, it demands super healing to function properly. Somewhat related, Officer Allen getting answers out of his formerly fiercest foe so easily isn't just caused by him knowing said destructive dude extremely well. It's also the result of that guy currently being in a body normally possessed by someone who usually assists with Flash stuff. Basically, there's some sort of stolen skin suit muscle memory overpowering current brain program what have you at play here. Allegra and Captain Unpleasant Woman were the only two present in that still forced version of real identity exposing threat action because during unaltered timeline junk, Iris would have pulled them both aside to work things out. She probably figured out lightning throwing on accident after stopping sloppily once. The Man in the Yellow Tie. Connecting to the negative Speed Force without being overly pissy must be what causes literal black lightning. Baddie brainwashed Bloody Barry wound up with it when he got pseudo-zombified back in Season 6, because his then current illness was redirecting power connection bunk as a conveniently villainous state indicating side effect. Cecile's psychic strength soaring during this event must be the result of being near a super scared meta who banks here. There were folks who can transfer abilities shown in the past, after all. Makes sense there'd be ones who can enhance them too, somewhere. The brief flashes of personal memories Eobard experiences must include mingled instances of contacting his other time point located selves. He may be interpreting such things as seeing someone else on a TV report or whatever. Hence how he knows the reverse flash is a murderous speedster. Chances are this guy also has a fuzzy recollection of stealing the life of Harrison Wells for 15-ish years. This is what granted him the ability to make fake resumes at a kinda above average level. Professor Can't Zoom is reading The Count of Monte Cristo, which is this universe's Lex Luthor's favorite literature piece. He must be seeking out inspiration in the manipulating folks while powerless department. On top of not wanting extra Black Flash attention as mentioned a while back, his other remnants might be neglecting to chat with this particular version because they consider him a look-down-worthy speed-deprived loser. In other words, they basically view him just like their former ancestor Eddie. After Armageddon's alterations arose and also achieved annihilation, the timeline's whole pieces itself back together quite imperfectly deal seemingly shifted Captain Black or Yellow Trousers' birthday closer to his typical 25th century placement, making him a native in the 23rd instead of 22nd nowadays. Thawne knows all about lantern stuff because in most historical iterations, Barry Allen, aka that guy he stalks without end, is best friend with prominent Corps member Hal Jordan. The negative Speed Force is draining that positive one's champion more now because it's really raging over how he emptied a certain stab-happy opposite person. This obsession-prone fellow fixates on Dr. Loveliness instead of the Flash this go-around because traditional romantic stuff has more appeal now when that latter dude's feat list has like 400 years less worth of examples being thrust into his face. Negative. Part 1. Impossibly ill Iris is inserted into that specific 2049 moment because her normal present-future counterpart must regularly partake in something significant going on right then, like working on a life and or world-changing story with her daughter. Freakily fatal fake Dion must have covered up those his-side-associated tachyons by constantly pulling pieces from his positive counterpart and shoving them up in her soul-body whatnot. He doesn't bother doing that anymore when planned stuff starts coming to a head here, because there simply aren't any chances available for such whatnot now. Thawne's presence being closed off from the negative DDs must be caused by those wacky time wraiths and Mr. Zombie Speedster Grim Reaper hiding his signature from meddlers so Universal Fabric shenanigans can remain in their current normal for as long as possible. Also, they more or less totally remake their new warrior, instead of simply just jacking up his present state, so those just mentioned above normal entities don't go after him right away. Another also, them attempting this ultimate might bestowing reboot crap with any earlier, currently causing timeline vital events Eobard iterations, like that infamous mom-killing one, doesn't happen, because doing so would cause absolutely unrestrained retaliation from the aforementioned group. Something that might lead to them getting erased so effectively that they can't even be recreated following a crisis event. Miss Horton may not actually be all that mentally super buff. It could be that she simply lacks the control somebody like Queen has. Hence her unintentionally doing something crazy an experienced and constantly focused mind reader like that other previous sentence-involved gal would never even think to try, such as channeling brain-skimming signals out through those not dampener-equipped floor tiles. The life experience recall lacking sinfully sunny suit sporting Sir showing substantial shock over Mrs. Hero getting killed might be caused by him feeling effects from deeply buried memories of ending her life himself in other timelines. She had to be annihilated during complete negative tachyon saturation by her husband's positive lightning because that first thing associated unpleasant force needed more than a spark for instant elite soldier manufacturing. That eensy bit in her probably made the main source multiply by quite a lot upon impact though. Sort of a horrifically tragic twist on their ever-present connection thing. New and improved Evil Bard hangs onto Harrison's face right now because it holds more messing with people potential than his own. The guy was probably planning to frame said scientist for many more murders because there's not a lot of other activities available for him after arch-rival assassination finally gets achieved. Negative. Part 2. Barry knew exactly which amount of electricity would kill Thawne based on what he deciphered while taking the guy's speed away. That in turn was discovered based on what he personally felt while a guy named Black Lightning was draining him following his own request. Professor Soon Will Zoom must have discovered how to reach into his awful energy dimension by thoroughly studying how the original particle accelerator event went, and figuring out a way somebody can tear into just one dimension. Eobard never saw anything while inside the negative Speed Force before because his natural normal hate levels never needed any extra prodding to keep him going. These newer not nices need to show him so much potential luxury-filled life events because they don't think he'll be okay with getting ordered around unless heavily bribed. Just as a Philosopher's Stone is calcified Speed Force energy, a Time Rock must be that for its temporal zone constructing equivalent. Bashir could hide his empowering fancy face covering by rendering it at least somewhat identical to Psycho Pirate's Universe Reboot Immune Data Storing 1. Basically, he put an intangible magic mask over the physical magic mask. Bart being extra on edge during this confrontation might have something to do with them all just dropping a bunch of people into hospitals who'd basically immediately get declared dead. Him and his sister would know this because history-watching supercomputer Gotland Jug would keep them up to date on such drastic changes. The sun hit causing illusion was seen as necessary from a villainous viewpoint because he doesn't know how Mina's neutral negativity would react with its own power stores. Also, he's a dick. Medication-caused white-blue lightning may be the result of artificial force production attempt imperfections, making a speed one with partial strength qualities or something. Dawn might have messed with this machine before going on his very public massacre in an attempt at making an actually killer Frost. Unsorted General Season Thoughts. On top of Barry's absolute existence, entirety, revitalization, participation, granting him some kind of extra physics hack resistance, as mentioned some time ago, his and Iris' connection remained in main enemy fantasy world because they took part in creating at least one version of those apparently universe vital, maybe divine beings. The negative Speed Force must have stripped First Reverse of his powers after initially killing Mama Nora so regular direction Fastman could keep charging that positive counterpart without interruption and provide it with a much needed grandiose theft source for nourishment. Either that or the hero learned how to do that swiftness swiping stuff nigh instantaneously and recharging got neglected so Wraithy Black Flash whatever wouldn't show up like stated earlier. Endings are a pain, but all of you are fantastic. See ya.